I think we give me feedback. Wendo, Catherine, Monica, are we together?
Yes, madam. Can I
All
maybe
right.
join?
Sorry?
Can I call them or join? Kama waja join. Ama they're already
Catherine
in.
joined.
Okay.
Catherine ako sawa. So it's okay. Catherine, karibu sana. Ulienda ukienda. Mulipewa tea break ukaenda lunch. You okay? I want to share. Okay, before I share, let me not share first. Let me just repeat what I had talked for 10 minutes, thinking I'm talking to people. Kumbe I was talking to myself. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's part of the challenges of online learning. But here we are. Our time is far much spent, but ni sawa tu. We'll cover what we can. We'll do the objective of today. All right. So you're most welcome for today's session. And like I had mentioned earlier, we are looking at poetry, and it's a continuation of what we had last time. And therefore, I would like to just take it up from there. And like I'd mentioned in the group, we are looking at the issue of attitude, tone, and mood in poetry. Attitude, tone, and mood in poetry. And so before we go into that, I know this is it's a bit heavy sometimes, but imagine it's not a big deal. So I hope I will try to explain it in a language that we will all understand, and that it will be easy for us to handle those questions, because definitely they will be there, not just in poetry, but you also realize sometimes in excerpts you'll find them, in comprehensions you will find them, you'll find them in very funny places. And so it is important for us to just generally understand what is expected of us. But before I do that, I would want to take us back, just a preview of the previous lesson, so that we are all reading from the same script. I'm hoping all of us managed to attend to that lesson. And so we had a discussion about poetry and what exactly is expected of us. And we looked at two aspects of it. Number one, we looked at the issue of the persona in the poem. And number two, the subject matter of the poem. How do you handle those two questions? And today, therefore, we are looking at the other question of the attitude, tone, and mood. But let me just mention briefly, just for the sake of it, that when we said that when you talk about the persona, we are talking about the voice, the speaker, the carrier of the message that the poet uses to communicate to us. Who is this that is the one speaking to us? Remember, the poet or the author or the playwright will always have this message they want to put across. But instead of them speaking, they will choose a vehicle. They will choose a medium of communication. They will choose someone or something, an object, or even a human being to communicate what their thoughts are. And so therefore, in this case, we're talking about the persona as the voice that we hear. Sometimes it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a student, a politician, just anything, an animal or something, whatever it is that we hear speaking is what we call the persona. And we did enough examples that day, and if you haven't found them, you can check up the previous video on the same. And while we are at that, we also talked about the subject matter, and we said the issue of the subject matter is the same as when you asked to talk about the themes, it's the same as what is the poem about. Those three things address almost the same thing. They address almost the same. They look at one thing. It's only that we call it in many things. But it's also good to say that that mainly when you talk about the subject matter of the poem, we're talking about the message, the main message. What is this the poet sat down and thought, I want to give it out there. I want the people to listen. I want people to hear me out on this. I want to highlight this. I want to bring this into, like bring it up because it is an important conversation. So what is this message? What was the theme? What did he want us to hear? That is what we call the subject matter. So we also said that when you're looking at the issue of the subject matter, or what is the poem about, or what is the theme, we said you can have a look at it from how just the poem is written, like just the plot, the flow of events, the sequence, the experiences, the conversations that you can see, just like looking at it on the top, like you're not going into the details, you're just telling us how the story is coming up. What do we see as the storyline in stanza 1, stanza 2, stanza, and so on? In every stanza, what is this message the poet wanted to communicate or is trying to communicate? Because every stanza has its own message. And so when you're answering that question, therefore, you look at it from a broader perspective. You don't go saying stanza 1 means this, stanza 2 has this. No, you look at every stanza, but in your answer, and you are also paying attention to the number of marks awarded. If a question on the subject matter carries 3 marks, then you must ensure that your answer is heavy enough to carry 3 marks, that you've given 3 independent points or 3 points that should actually give you a mark each. If a question has got 4 marks, or even 2 marks, or rarely 2 marks, but mostly 3 marks, make sure that your answer, you don't give one sentence or 2 lines and imagine that those 2 lines will give you 3 marks. It won't happen. You'll score poorly. And so that's a critical question, and you will find it almost everywhere. But so therefore, it is not hard. It's as simple as that. Do you understand the poem? Yes. Now just explain what you understand. You could also go deeper, apart from just looking at the plot. You could also go deeper into looking at the themes that are being discussed, the deeper meaning, not just what you see on the storyline, but what do you think is the message? What thematic concerns were being raised in the poem itself, and so on? So basically, that is what we looked at previous lesson on persona and the subject matter of the poem. So today, I wanted us to look at the issue of the attitude, tone, and mood. Rarely will you find one poem asking you those 3 things. Mother Nature does not even allow that to happen. Most of the times, you will find one question. What is the tone in the poem? Or what is the attitude of the persona? What is the attitude of so-and-so? What is the mood of the poem? So many times you will not find a question that has got 3 of them. You will find 1, at most 2, at most 2. Nani sometimes ni ngumu to give you 2 in the name of fairness, because kama hiyo topic inakume sana, you will, if they give you 2, you will actually be in trouble. So most of the times you'll find 1 of it, but trust me, you will find something on that. Even if you look at the examples, the sample poems that I shared, you will find that almost every poem has a question on attitude, has a question on tone, has a question on mood, and therefore makes this discussion very important. And so let's begin by looking at what are the definitions of those things and those words, the 3 of them, and I had shared them in the group. So therefore I want somebody to read for us, because like I told you, I can talk and talk and talk, but I love it when we share. I love it when I hear your voices. When I get you involved, it makes the class very interesting. So I want to request somebody, and now that we are not many, we have Catherine, Mwaura, welcome. We have Monica, and we have Wendo. And I hope that, I don't know whether the 3 of you are in a position where you can read something for us, because I want any of the 3 of you to choose any of the items to read for us. Just reading. We are not even going to, we'll read the 3 of them together, as in one go, and then I will explain. So to some two, just for the sake of our back knowledge, and I hope you will copy that into your exercise book, kwa sababu tulisema if your phone crashes and there's a problem with your phone, then you lose your content, you'll be in a lot of trouble. utashinda ukitusumbua, nitumie ile kitu, hata ukumbuke ni nini unatumiwa. So kindly try and copy it in your exercise book. It will help. So let's have volunteers who would want to read for us, so that tukuallocatie. One to read attitude, the other one to read tone, the other one to read mood. Ziko kwa WhatsApp group. So can we have volunteers? Who wants to read?
I read. Excuse me, teacher. I read attitude.
All right, I'm back. Did we get volunteers? Did you get volunteers? Catherine and Domi and Monica?
I will read the tone. I think Wendo wanted to read about the mood. Attitude, I
Yes,
mean the
and
attitude.
she's also affected by power, so I know she'll be back. But in the meantime, let's carry on.
So I read the attitude.
Yes, please read the attitude.
Okay. So attitude is the feeling and opinion a person has towards something or someone. It is suggested by the choice of words, the feelings portrayed by the character and those provoke in you, in bracket the reader, when you read the poem. It can be described using various adjectives: spiteful, resigned, submissive, loving, malicious, patriotism, and respect, etc.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Can
Somebody
I
else to read
continue
for
or
us?
somebody else to read the tone about the tone?
If there is nobody else, then we can read.
Okay,
You
let
can
me
go
read.
on.
Okay. Tone, it is a quality of voice in speech or writing which reflects a person's mood or attitude towards their subject or the audience. It can be picked from the poetry's or persona's descriptions. choice of words, punctuations, etc. Some words described tone can be shocked. Some words describing tone can be shocked, commanding, sympathetic, aggressive, sorrowful, sad, happy, emotional, jealous, bitter, sarcastic, threatening, respect, and remorseful, etc. Moods refers to the atmosphere in the poem. If the subject matter of the poem is sad, the mood is likely to be sad. Choice of words and styles shape the mood. It can change through the poem. Note below, the objective used in both tone and attitude are appropriate for describing moods in the poem.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the good reading. I appreciate that. Let me just confirm that we all here. Domi, you're around? You okay?
I'm here, sir. Hi, I'm here.
Hi, thank you. I can see
Okay.
Catherine has disappeared in the window. Okay, fine. I hope they'll join us. And again, they will also check on the link later. All right, allow me to begin by explaining the three of them together. Sasa nitakuwa na ka monologue of sorts. I will take a bit of time to explain so that then if you have a question, you can ask at that point. We said we have just, during where I don't know what's going on with this Wi-Fi. I think the blackout has messed it up. I'm sorry about that. You can hear me?
Yes, you can hear you now.
All right. Sorry. So I was saying, I hope I didn't lose you before when I noted I'm off. So I was saying I'll try to explain the three of them together in a way that hopefully by the time I'm done with the explanation, then you will have a clear understanding. So we are saying that when you're dealing with when a poet writes a poem or an author is writing a book, a story, a novel, or a playwright is writing a play, there is that message they want you as the reader, as the audience, to take home. There is a message they want to make sure that you hear. And so that is what we call the subject matter. But now, when for you to get that message clearly, for you to understand exactly what he's up to, there is a way it needs to be said. There is a way he needs to phrase his sentences. There is a way when he's like, for example, he's reciting that poem. Kuna vile anafaa kuisema ndio message upate. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about, in the sense of, for example, as a parent, and I'm happy that a good number of us are parents, when you're talking to your child, there is a way you say something so that apate your message vizuri. For example, when amekosea and you want to rebuke or to correct or to reprimand, there is a way you need to say it ndio aelewe that you're not joking, it's not playing, you really mean whatever you say. So there is a way you need to the choice of words, number one, is important. Number two, even the way you say it, the quality of your voice. I hope you get that. The quality of your voice. If, for example, you're also telling her, you're congratulating her or him for the work well done, and you're applauding them and you're affirming them, telling them that you love them, you care for them, they are enough, and so on. How you say that is very different from how you say, that is not okay, I expected better, you have failed, and so on. I want you to do better next time. Those two scenarios are two different situations, and the how you say it is very different. The how you communicate that is very, very different. So how does your child, how does your audience, how does the person you're speaking to hear exactly what it is you need to say? Ukisimama pale mbele kwa stage, you're reading a poem to the people, how do they get to understand your message if your voice is flat? It's the same. There is no, you remember when you're talking about how would you say line 5, how would you perform? That is the same thing we are also raising here. When you talk about the attitude, the tone, and the mood, we are actually talking about the same thing. It is almost the same thing we are talking about. So let's begin by the talk about the tone. I think we should begin with the tone. Maybe it will help us. The definition says the tone is the quality of voice in speech or in writing which reflects the person's mood or attitude towards their subject or the audience. The quality of voice, the tone is the quality of voice in speech or in writing which reflects a person's mood or attitude towards the subject or the audience. It can be picked from the poet's stroke persona's descriptions, choice of words, punctuation, and so on. Now, let me begin from there. That, for example, if you're correcting someone, if you're reprimanding them, there is the quality of your voice. There is a way, whatever you say, it comes out. You're raising your voice. You are talking with whispers. You are probably, just, saying it in a certain way. That quality of voice is what we are listening to. It is what we call the tone. Most of the times especially when I'm dealing with the teenagers, as my students or even my children, they will say something, then I tell them, I don't like your tone. Whatever you're saying is very correct, but your tone is wrong. Why are you making it sound? It sounds, the sound of it, the sound of it is what we are looking at, the tone. And they'll ask you, can you tone it down? Because what we are hearing you say is the how you are saying what you're saying is communicating something so strong for us. So you could be saying something, okay, but the how you say it, the quality of that voice is really a game changer. And so we are saying, if you're talking one-on-one, therefore we are talking about the tone. And that word, we commonly use it. And I want to tell you, it is nothing different. It is the same thing we are talking about, the quality of your voice. What is your tone? What is the tone in this poem? When it comes to poetry, therefore, or something written, you may not, it's not like when someone is speaking, you can hear their voice, like venye unanisikia. But in writing, tunaangalia nini? The choice of words. There are some words that you will use and it will communicate very clearly to the person who is listening to you. For example, In the same way, when you're reprimanding someone, there is the choice of words. Even if you're writing a message, someone can write you a message on WhatsApp or email or something, and then unasikia, hey, kwa nini ameongea hivyo? Hajaongea, amekuandikia. But ukisoma Kenya ameandika, that message, yani the tone is just wrong. Unasikia kama angekusomea, kuna venye hiyo sauti unasikia kabisa, that tone is wrong, or that tone is so appropriate, as much as hiyo message ilikuwa very strong, venye ameiandika, venye ameisema, we are able to just take it as much as it was heavy. So when you talk about the tone, therefore, we are talking about the quality of your voice. And the voice, not necessarily what you can hear me speak, but we hear that voice even in the choice of words. We hear that tone even in the punctuation. We hear that tone even on the way that you have phrased your sentences, the length of your sentences, like if it's a poem. If it's a poem that has very short sentences, very short, unakuta poem mzima iko na every sentence has got 3 lines, 3 words. Na kuna poem ingine iko na almost a whole sentence, imefika karibu mwisho ya book. So those two they communicate something different. So when you talk about the tone, therefore, I hope you remember this. Think about the normal usage of the word tone. Now, I want to say that the tone, the quality of your voice, is determined by how you feel. How are you feeling about something? Because your feelings towards something is what determines how you say. If you're happy about someone, then you will speak in a happy tone. So therefore, that takes us to the issue of your attitude. I hope it's not confusing you. Now, allow me to read for you what attitude is about. Let's look at it from WhatsApp. We said, what is attitude again? Catherine read for us very well. Or is it Monica? Yes. Yes, Monica. You said that attitude, I hope you can, let me just read, but you can go there if you wish. Attitude is the feelings and opinion a person has towards something or someone. It is the attitude. Attitude is the feelings and the opinion a person has towards someone or something. It is suggested by the choice of words, the feelings portrayed by the character, and those provoked in you, the reader, when you read the poem. Now, let me explain that again. Like I had said, that when you talk about the attitude, we are saying it is the feelings. The attitude has to do with the feelings. And it's as simple as that. Like we say, you have a negative attitude. So the attitude, we see the attitude through the feelings and the opinions. Why do you have an attitude? You look like you have an attitude. It's a normal word we throw around. And it's the same way. Don't let it mess you up. Don't think it's a big thing in poetry. It is not. It is the same thing we are talking about. The attitude is the feelings that you communicate regarding someone, regarding something, regarding an issue. What is it that you feel? And remember, what you feel, your opinion about something will influence how you say it, how you say whatever, how you give your feedback. And that's why we said when you're dealing with tone, tone is influenced by your attitude. That means the quality of your voice is influenced by your feelings and your opinion about something. I hope I'm not confusing you. I hope that makes sense to you. We'll come back to the adjectives that are used, but I wanted you to see the relationship between those 3 words. So allow me to very quickly move on to the third item so that then we can tie the 3 together. The third item we were looking at is the mood. Allow me to read for you the mood. We are saying that the mood refers to the atmosphere in the poem. The mood refers to the atmosphere in the poem. If the subject matter of the poem is sad, the mood is likely to be sad. The choice of words and the styles shape the mood. It can change through the poem. That is, we can have different moods in the poem. Allow me to explain that again and say that now We have looked at the tone, which I've said is the quality of voice. We have looked at the attitude, which is the feelings and the opinions that one has. Number 3, it is the mood. The mood is the atmosphere that is created in the poem. Now, I hope you see the relationship that when you have this attitude, when you have these feelings, an opinion about something, it influences your tone, how you say it. That is the quality of your voice. And while you say whatever you want to say and say it however you want to say, it will ultimately influence the atmosphere in the poem. What is the atmosphere in the poem? It is the mood we are talking about. Is it sad? It is the atmosphere is sad. For example, if you're reading a poem where someone is mourning the loss of a loved one, already you have a feeling, the feelings of sadness and loss and grief. Those are your feelings. That's the attitude you have. The tone, the quality of your voice, the how you say, how you read that poem cannot be the way you'll read about a wedding or a rurashio or something that is an exciting event or something interesting, something funny, something that is comical. So the attitude that you have, the feelings that you have, will influence the quality of your voice, such that the attitudes are the feelings, the attitude is sad, grieving, mourning. So that will cause the tone to also be the same. And ultimately, the mood, the general atmosphere will also be the same. So the 3 of them, they actually are interrelated. It's only that now we say that the poem can have different. It can start with a sad mood, and then somewhere in the middle, the mood lightens up. Or and why is it lightening up? Because already the tone used is totally different. It is a light tone. I mean, it's a tone that shows excitement and so on. And so we are saying that each one of them affects the other. And it's also important at this point to explain that the adjectives that we use for the 3 of them, they are almost the same. So that means understand moja, you can play with them in any of the 3, as in you can apply any. Nobody, rarely will you miss a mark because you have used an adjective for the mood in the place of the tone. The only one that slightly different is the tone, slightly different, but not even so different, by the way, such that ukielewa hizo adjectives. And those same adjectives are the ones that we use when you're describing the character and the character traits. When you're looking at paper 2, the excerpt, those same words are the same ones that we use. So somehow it is therefore important for you to make sure that you're familiar with those adjectives that we use, both in the attitude, tone, and mood, and also the same ones that we use when you're discussing character and characterization in the set books. So before I proceed from there, let me allow you to ask a question because nimeongea sana. Hey, ask a question. And please don't tell me umeelewa. Yeah. Hata kama umeelewa, just pretend not to kuelewa and ask me a question. I like being asked questions. So just ask, because that will make me know that ulikuwa unasikiza. Go.
Okay, teacher. Let's
Yes.
say now you've been asked about the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
When you say the attitude, it's sadness or sad. Which adjective do you use? Sadness or sad?
Very
Because
good. Now,
mood is sad. Mood is sad.
yeah.
Now the attitude, how do you say?
Exactly. That's a good question. That's a very good question. That is where I want us to go to. Very good. Because like I've said, there's very small difference. Very small. Kuna venye tu. Sometimes you may have to use an adjective. The other time you may have to use a form of that word that could be slightly different. I am coming to that. Very good. Somebody else ask a question, Catherine? Monica and Wendo, what do you think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if the poem has two moods.
What if it
Like
has two?
maybe you start with the happy, maybe you start with the happy. Like there was a poetry on the heaven I was promised. Now we see like the bride is promised a lot. So at the top we see happiness, but at the end she end up dying, like going to the real heaven.
She goes to the heaven that she was really promised.
Yes.
Yeah, but while she goes to that heaven that she was promised, it's a sad one, eh? So
Yes.
we end the poem in a sad note, but we began with a good one because she's a new bride and with the promise of a good life and so on. Very, very good. Let me answer that and say that every time when an examiner will be careful not to confuse you. Ukiulizwa the mood in the poem, realize there is a way, if they know there is a change of the mood, there is a way they'll be careful not to ask you a very general question, like what is the mood in the poem, because the poem has got different moods. Let me say moods in quotes. But in case that comes up, it is important for you to make sure that you communicate, that you understand that we have different moods in this poem. We have a sad one, we have a happy one, we have all these. So if at some point there is a happy one, please explain that in stanza 1, 2, 3, the mood is this. In stanza 5, 6, and 7, the other one is this. But rarely will they mix happy, good, happy, just a mix up of so much. You may realize we start with a sad, then happy, or the same. So many times we just have one mood, but if we have more than one, therefore, na ulizwe, without being given guided, it is important for you to try and capture the two of them. Usi ignore moja, because maybe the examiner is expecting you to show the two. And again, the number of marks awarded are also critical, because you may realize that kind of the one that has two moods, you realize that it has higher marks because they're expecting you to tell us a little bit more. So I hope that answers it. I'm hoping as we look at the examples, to come across something, a poem that has got two moods. I hope that is clear, Catherine.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Monica and Wendell?
Me, I have, but it's different, as in haiulizi most kwa mood na tone na attitude. Maybe I don't know kama pia utatueleza about that one. Maybe you've been asked to identify or explain the images that are used to describe. Maybe the poem is about love, but when you read the poem, it is okay. It is different from it is ironic. The way we know love, so you have been told the love is madness, maybe the love is fire. So every word when you read, you find it is irony. Unapata haielezi what is love vile inastahili kukua, but they're telling you to identify the images that are used to describe that love. Maybe can you use any other poem maybe to explain us how we can answer that question, but si kwa the mood na tone. Maybe if you can help us.
That's okay. That's okay. I like those questions because, like, remember we said, me, I love dealing with the areas that you're struggling with. So personally, when you raise an area where it's not clear for you, I love to hear it so that I'm able to assist you there. So that is an area I will address. When you talk about images, exactly what are we talking about? Very, very good. I will come to that. Remind me before we finish, I will address that. Very good. Wendell?
I was wondering. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I was wondering if in a poem you can have more than two, let's say attitude in iko kwa poem, let's say there are like more than two examples kwa like mood ziko more than one like that.
Yeah, we've said it's possible to have more than one. The mood, we can have more than one, though it's not always very common. But there are situations where a poem has got two moods, a happy one or a sad one, beginning with a sad one and then coming to a happy one. In the same way, but when it comes to the issue of the attitude, you realize the question will be directed a little bit. They will ask you, what is the attitude of the persona towards this and this? What is the attitude of whoever, the poet towards? So kuna venye hiyo question ya attitude, uko a little bit guided. It's not very open, like the way a mood and so on. So you will have some little bit of guidance, so that question is too broad. It's not too broad, but as far as the mood is concerned, you can have more than one, but rarely would you have more than two. I'd had you ask whether more than two. More than two is just overdoing. So many times is more than one. I mean, it's two, yeah, but or just one. But if you find more than one or even more than two, just know how to play about it. Just try to see what is predominant, which one is standing out more than the others, and talk about that. Very good. Now, I want to go to the question that Domi had asked, because that is the area I want us to concentrate on before we handle one. So I want us to just do probably just one poem, so that we can have a look at we can see a practical example on the same. But let me see. Let me see if I can share that. I was hesitant to share those notes now that we have them in the WhatsApp, but let me just share it because I want us to look at those words, those adjectives that are used there. In a minute. That's why I was hesitant to share, because in Asumbwa, my documents, my phone has a small issue. Okay, can we have somebody reading for us the adjectives? Maybe you can for us. Read for us the adjectives used for the attitude. Tusome attitude, alafu utusomee za tone na za tone, because mood mnaambiwa mood na tone are the same. Tusomee the two, the attitude, za attitude, and then za tone, tuone how they come around. Okay, go ahead. Oh, Domi, are you able to read, or somebody else can read?
I read.
Yes, please do.
Attitude is the feeling and opinion a persona, someone stroke something.
A person has towards.
Haionekani yote.
Maybe it could be your nene. An attitude is the feelings or opinion a person has towards someone or something.
Can
Go ahead.
Can I continue? It is suggested by the choice of words, the feeling betrayed by the character, and those provoked in you reader when you read the poem. It can be described using various adjectives like spiteful, resigned, submissive, loving, malicious, patronizing, respectful, etc.
All right, that is for the attitude. We can talk about the attitude is spiteful, it's resigned, it's submissive, loving, malicious, patronizing, respectful, can even have abusive, insulting, all those words. I will give you a list of adjectives after this, I'll give you a list of so many adjectives you can use. I'm hoping you'll find time and look at them in the dictionary. Look them up in the dictionary, and probably just look them up, because it will help you. The more your vocabulary builds up, the more it becomes easier. Sometimes even when it comes to character and characterization, from a character, for example, Nicole ako hivi, but you don't have the vocabulary, you don't have the choice of words, you don't have the richness of the vocabulary such that you're able to just say this is it. Wewe unajua nini unataka kusema, but the how to say it ndio inasumbua. So therefore, it will demand that you have time to create time to look at the adjectives themselves. Yeah, very good. So we are talking about that. I want you to see whether there is a difference between hizo za attitude na hizi za tone. So let's go ahead. Somebody read for us the one for the tone. Somebody's reading the one for the tone?
Yeah. Okay, let me read. Tone is the quality of voice in speech or in writing, which reflects a person's mood, attitude towards their subject or the audience. It can be picked from the poet's or persona's descriptions, choice of words, punctuation, etc. Some words describing tone can be shocked, commanding, sympathetic, aggressive, sorrowful, sad, happy, emotional, jealous, bitter, sarcastic, threatening, respectful, remorseful, etc. Continue with
For
the
the
mode.
Soma hapo kwa mood.
Mode refers to the atmosphere in the poem. If the subject matter of the poem is sad, the mood is likely to be sad. Choice of words and styles shape the mood. It can change through the poem. Note, the adjectives used in both tone and attitude are appropriate for describing mood in the poem.
Very good. I hope that we can see that the adjectives used in both the tone and the attitude, remember hapa ni kwa mood, the tone and the attitude are appropriate for describing the mood in the poem. Now, I want you to note that ukifika hapa kwa tone, kuna just a few words that zita sound funny zikiwa kwa attitude, while the others are okay. For example, when you say that someone has a happy attitude or a sad attitude, inakaa funny, inakaa a bit funny. But a sad tone and a happy tone, that's okay, or a bitter tone. But when you say a bitter attitude, I don't know why it sounds just weird, but it's not weird because we are talking about the feelings. Attitude talks about the feelings and your opinion about something. What are these emotions that are being brought out of the subject matter? Whatever is going on, it is happy, it is sad. So, see ati they are wrong. It's only that normally tukiongea tunasikia ikiwa funny, juu I don't know, it doesn't sound so normal to our tongues, but ideally the same adjectives that you can use for tone and mood can also be used for attitude, for the mood. You can use all of them cutting across. And I always advise that sometimes when you feel something is uncomfortable for you, like when you say, like personally, I would be uncomfortable to say it's a sad attitude, but a tone, I will say it's a sad tone. Else that sounds okay for you, write an answer that you think for you it feels okay, because sometimes when you feel something is not okay, there is a possibility that it's actually not okay. Even if you're doing it guesses, you're doing guesswork, let it be an intelligent guess. Guesswork yenye unajua yenyewe I gave it my best, hata mimi nilikuwa nafikiria hiyo iko right, lakini usiandike kitu tunajua aki hiyo kitu nilikuwa najua iko wrong. No, look for the example or an answer that hata wewe hata kama hauko sure, you almost, you knew, and it's the best you could have offered. You gave it your best. And so therefore, I hope that question is answered. Domi, the one you're asking, what adjectives do we use? And I think I'm not very sure whether I still have that document. Just give me a minute. There is a document, Domi, we used to have in last year. I don't know whether it was that there's a document I had shared with you in the group. I don't know whether I can find it. I hope I will find it. There is a document that has that is very good. It has a list of very many adjectives that describe the same. I've just remembered there's that document, but I think I have it somewhere at work. But let me just check it for a minute. Ndio tumaliziane na hii discussion. Then tutaangalia hiyo poem. Just 1 minute. I hope I can see it. Demi, do you remember that document? Maybe you may not remember it.
Yes, for adjectives.
Kalikuwa na very many words, eh? I hope we can find it. Let me see. It's a very good one. Good. Actually, we had that discussion, and I can see those words here. Very good. Let me share them. Let me share them so that I think this should help us. I can't see the document, but this could also help us. I'm sharing them in the group. Yeah, I think I've shared this in the WhatsApp, in the YouTube. I think I clipped them from there on a video I had done on YouTube on the same. So if you look at those words, are we able to see them? Hebu angalia kama unaziona kwa group. Tuzione tu, tuzipitie tu very fast. Ndio sasa tutoke hapo. Are we all there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes. So, and sometimes when you just read them, kuna venye zinakufungua tu akili tu. Kusoma hizo majina zote, kuna venye tu, it increases your vocabulary and makes you a little bit more comfortable. So, ndio tumalizie hii discussion na tuone kama tumecover so that we can go to the question. Can we have volunteer? We have 4 documents, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ama zote zinasema the same. Let me see. Chagua moja yenye tutasomea, utusomee list ya hizo majina. Tukisonga. We are not explaining anything, but those words, all of them, they can be used for describing, eh? They can be used for describing tone, attitude, and mood. So mtu achague moja, read for us, some tukienda, so that when you go to the poem, you will be able to probably have a variety of words that you're able to pick from there. So let's go. Somebody?
I'll read the first one.
Yes.
Is it amiable or amiable? Amiable.
Amiable.
Amiable, cheerful, considerate, courageous, charming, confident, efficient, encouraging, fair-minded, forgiving, friendly, generous, genuine, helpful, humorous, impartial, inclusive, independent, innovative, joyful, kind, royal, optimistic, patient, persistent, respectful, responsible, sincere.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Somebody go on from there, Cynthia.
I'll read the next one.
Yeah.
Sincere, thoughtful, tolerant, trustworthy, adaptable, adventurous, affectionate, ambitious,
Affect.
amicable. Sorry?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Affectionate, ambitious, amicable, brave, bright, charming, confident, conscious.
Yes.
Yeah. Creative, curious, daring, diligent, disciplined, easygoing, empathetic, energetic, enthusiastic, fearless, flexible, forgiving, generous, gracious, happy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Somebody to read from the happy?
I'll read.
Go ahead.
Happy, helpful, honorable, imaginative, ingenious, joyful, kind, leader, logical, loyal, modest, neat, open-minded, passionate, patient, persistent, pleasant, poised, polite, practical, proactive, resourceful, respectful, responsible, self-confident, self-disciplined, sensitive, sociable, strong-willed, thoughtful.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's have another person reading for us that last part. Though part of it is repetition of what we had earlier, but ni sawa tu hata ikirudiwa. Nani atatusomea? Monica? Ama who is it who has not read? Oh, okay.
Can you repeat?
Maybe I
It's
should.
okay.
Yes, you can repeat.
Poised, polite, practical, proactive, resourceful, respectful, responsible, confident, self-disciplined, sensitive, sociable, strong-willed, thoughtful, tolerant, trustworthy, understanding, warm, willing, witty, amusing, assertive, astute, attentive, bright, busy, capable, careful, cautious.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that is very helpful. That is very helpful. So I want to hope that with that, the explanation that we did and looking at the adjectives that we can use when it comes to a poem, therefore, it will be easier for you to identify the attitude, identify the mood, identify the tone. And I want to add and say that when you're asked that question, you must be very careful to make sure that you explain. Usiseme tu sad ama respectful, alafu unasonga. Respectful, you must explain why respectful. You must always explain your answer. Because if you don't, if you just say one word, then you lose it. You don't even get a quarter mark. You're even worse than mwenye hakuandika. Because wewe hata ulichoka. Wewe na mtu mwenye hakuandika, you're in the same WhatsApp group. So always, when you're dealing with English, whatever it is, unless maybe it's grammar or close test, always explain. Nobody will ever penalize you for explaining and writing more, but you will end up scoring more because of that explanation, because we want to see you explaining. Do you understand what you're talking about? And so on. So basically, I think that's it. Unless there is a question, I want us for a minute to have a look at a poem. I had a poem here. I got it from the document I shared in the group. There's a document I shared some time back, the poems. I want to share this poem so that we can read it and ask ourselves, we identify the attitude, the tone, and the mood. Tukifanya hivyo, hii lesson imalizikia hapo. The rest tutazifanya as part of our practice as we go on. So let's have a read at that poem and see, as we read, are you able to hear the voice of the persona? Who is the persona in this poem? Maybe that's a question that we can ask very briefly, because it's part of the revision we are doing now that we've already done the persona. Who is the persona in this poem? What is the subject matter about? And then, do you speak the attitude? Do you hear the feelings and the opinion of the persona? When you're reading, what mood, what atmosphere is being created? When you read this, what is the tone? What is the quality of the voice of the person who is speaking? Now that is one to hear. And after that, we'll be good to go. We'll call it a lesson. So once again, can we have a volunteer who will read for us the poem? I hope you can maybe zoom it from your end. I don't know if I zoom it this way. Hope it doesn't.
Okay, I will read.
Yes, please do. Is that okay, the way I've put it?
Yes, it is okay.
Read for us.
His sunken cheeks, his inward looking.
Sorry, but every time when you're reading a poem, you begin with the title.
Oh, sir. Okay. So, okay, this okay, the title, it is not full seen. The date of it is not finished.
Death of my father.
The day, okay, death of my father. His sunken cheeks.
Just a minute. Is there somebody else who can see the death of my father? Can we all see the death of my father? I could be giving you half document. Abu, move your document, move your, zoom it in and out. Maybe it is because, I've zoomed out mine. So maybe that's why you're not able to see the full document.
Iko sawa, teacher?
Iko sawa? Yeah,
Yes.
so you can zoom. Oh, that's okay. Read for us from there.
Okay, the death of my father. His sunken cheeks, his inward looking. The sarcastic, scornful smile on his lips, then kept matted gray hair, the hard, coarse sandpaper hands, spoken eloquent of the life he lived, of the life he had lived, but I did not mourn for him. The hammer, the saw, and the plane, these were his tools and his damnation. His sweat was his ornament and his perfume. He fashioned dining tables, chairs, and wardrobes, and all the wooden loves of colonial life. No, I did not mourn for him. He built colonial mansions, huge, unwheeled, arrogant constructions, but he squatted in a sticky, muddy house with his children hardly stunted under the bed he shared with the mother. I could not mourn for him. I had already inherited his perfumed old age look. I had imbibed his frustrations, but his dreams of freedom and happiness had become my song, my love, so I could not mourn for him. No, I did not shed any tears. My father's dead life still lives in me. He lives in my son, my father. I am my father and my son. I will awaken his sleepy hopes and yearnings, but I will not mourn for him. I will not mourn for me.
All right. Thank you very much. That is very good reading. I appreciate that. Very good. This is a very, well, it's a poem that is very deep. It's a very deep poem. Let me leave it that way so that you're able to see the whole of it. Let's begin from that point of who is the persona in this poem? Who is speaking? Whose voice do you hear in this poem and why? And why? Usituambie tu it is this and this, explain why. Very quickly.
This is a son mourning his dad. It's because in stanza 5,
He says, I am my father's dead life still lives in me.
Mhm. All right, very good, very good. Is there anybody else who want to say something else? Very good. I think that does it. We won't explain much on that. We've done it well. That we say, you asked who is the persona in the poem. You say the persona is the son or a son to the deceased, to a dead man. It's a son to a dead man. Then you need to explain why do you think is a son. And so, like she said, you must go to the stanza, for example, where he says, my father's dead life still lives in me. He lives in my son, my father. I am my father and my son. I will awaken his sleepy. That stanza is very clear, though even the rest of the stanza has enough. So you just quote one line. My father's dead life still lives in me, or you can quote any other line that communicates how the poem is about. Give me a minute, let me pick a call. All right, sorry about that. I had to respond to that phone call. Okay, so where were we? We were on the persona na tukamaliza hiyo eh? Sawa sawa. The subject matter very quickly. Assuming umepewa swali ya subject matter very quickly. What is the subject matter of the poem?
Mm, this is a son who saw his dad dying, and he was not able to mourn his father, and he remembers what the father used to do. And he explains how his father was hardworking.
Very good. That's a good try. Very good. Anybody else wants to add something? Well, sema kakitu. Pick any stanza and run with it and tell us what you think about the subject matter.
I can also add that the father was a carpenter.
The father was a carpenter. Very good. I'm thinking about this part of stanza what? Stanza 3. He built colonial mansions, huge, unwieldy, arrogant constructions, but he's squatted in a sickly madhouse, with his children huddled stuntedly under the bedbug bed he shared with his mother. I could not mourn for him. What does that tell us?
They were very poor.
Yeah, the man was poor. They were very poor.
Yeah, he was very poor. He's very poor. What do you think about his bosses, the colonial masters that he was building for? How would you describe them?
They were manipulative because the man was working so hard for them, and he was building mansions for them, but he lived in a madhouse, meaning that
they were
not paying him, so they enslaved.
He was more of a slave. We are told in stanza 2, thank you, Domi. We are told in stanza 2, he fashioned dining tables, chairs, wardrobes, and all the wooden loves of colonial life. He built colonial mansions, huge, unwieldy, arrogant constructions, but he's quoted in a sickly madhouse. So that means this guy was not just doing funny, small, shoddy, small things. He really was working very hard. And whatever he was doing, he put in a lot of excellence in it. There were beautiful things he was doing. And at the beginning of stanza 2, he says, the hammer, the saw, and the plane were his tools and his damnation. His sweat was his ointment and his perfume. Okay, so that means he really was overworking. He was working so hard. It was hard labor. It was not easy for him to do all those things, to build all those things, the dining table, the chairs, the wardrobes. And so he made their lives very comfortable, very, very beautiful. But how much were they paying him? Maybe they were paying him nothing, because he's quoted in a sickly madhouse. Squatting, that means he can't even stand. Itule tunyumba tuko short, you know? Too short, you cannot even stand inside there. you're always quoting because of the hate of that house. Remember, the quoting is symbolic, that hata hamwezi toshea. You could be standing true, but you're a squatter, you know, and you are a squatter, you don't even own land. Remember the issue of slave trade, and slavery and all that. So he's quoted in a sickly, not just a mad house, it's a sickly mad house with his children huddled stuntedly. Sikia ni wapi wako wamefinyiliwa under the bed shared with his mother. Watoto, the house is mud, sickly, is made of mud and is sickly. Watoto na wao wana squat chini ya kitanda. Hiyo kitanda inakaa aje? Iko bed, as ni kitanda iko na bed bugs, and this is the bed they were sharing with the mother. I hope you see how that goes, and maybe while I'm at this, allow me to raise the issue of image. Somebody had asked about image, and it's good that I don't forget to talk about it. When you talk about image, and this will be handled in the next discussion in poetry when you talk about stylistic devices. Our next discussion after we are done with this in poetry will be dealing with stylistic devices. Now, image, or there's something we call imagery. Now, imagery is known broadly. It's a broad style. It's a broad stylistic device, and it has very many subtitles. It has many styles inside there. Imagery comes from the word image, that when you read something, when you read that statement, you're able to create a mental image in your mind. You can almost see it, you can almost draw it. And this poem has it has strong imagery aspects of it. Now, what are those things that bring imagery? What are those things that bring the image? Number one, the ones we have, two very common ones that we don't even discuss, we don't even compromise on. When you talk about imagery and image are the same, we are saying we have similes and metaphors. They fall under imagery. Why? Because the two, when you read something that is a simile, it creates a mental image. The same thing with a metaphor. Simile and metaphors, they create the same. But now there are many other stylistic devices that their role, their significance, their work is to create a mental image. For example, something we call vivid description. When someone describes something so vividly, so clearly, you can almost see, you can almost do a movie. You can almost imagine yourself acting that part. For example, when he describes about these colonial mansions, hugely unwielded, arrogant constructions, but he's quoted in a sickly mud house, you know, with his children huddled stuntedly under the bed. You know, that description itself has a way of even creating, you can almost see the children. You can almost see the children under the bed, a bed that has bed bugs. You can almost see that house, you know, the ones that we see in some informal settlements like Kibera and Mukuru and all that. Some very small funny places zenye walls hata hazina ni nini, makaratasi, macartons, maclothes zimewekwa huko, you know, it's the image that we have in our minds. So when we have other stylistic devices that can be used to create an imagery. Okay, and when you're looking at the stylistic devices, tutazipata. So allow me not to go into that because I really don't like mixing issues a lot. But I promise you, when we are looking at the stylistic devices, because we'll dedicate a whole 2 hours for the same, I will go into every detail, including the irony. Because really, irony may not be considered as a style to bring imageries. Many times there are other better styles to talk about image, and so allow me to handle that when you're looking at the stylistic devices. I hope that is clear. So these poems, you look at them later on and all that, but I hope as you see this, you're able to see what the poet is saying. And let me also mention something as we walk away from that. There's a part he says, "No, I did not shed any tears." The last stanza. "My father's dead life still lives in me. He lives in my son, my father. I am my father and my son. I will awaken his sleepy hopes and yearnings, but I will not mourn for him. I will not mourn for me." That is a very deep stanza with a very deep meaning. And as you talk about the message, you talk about the subject matter of this poem, it is important for you not to forget that last stanza, because it brings in the aspect of hope. It brings in the aspect of optimism. It brings in the aspect of determination and resilience, that he says, I will not mourn for my father. When you see that statement, I will not mourn for him, Apombele, the others, it sounded like he's angry at his father, like he's bitter at him, like he's wondering, why did you even allow your life to look like this? Why did you end up like this? Why did you give us this kind of a life? But when you look at that last stanza, you hear something different. The tone is different. There is something hopeful about him. There is something optimistic about him. There is something that is almost cheerful. He's saying, I did not shed any tears. My father's dead life still lives in me. So he's saying, hata kama my dad did not achieve his dreams, his hopes, his aspirations, the things he wanted to become, I will achieve them for him. I will revive those dreams. I am the one who will live his dreams. I am the one who will make him proud, even in the grave. And my son also, he lives, my father does not just live in me. His dreams don't just live in me, but they also live in my son. My son who will come after me will also fulfill the dreams of my father. So actually what he's saying, the reason why I'm not mourning for my father is because it means I'm also mourning me. I'm mourning myself. I'm mourning my life. No, I am not going to do that, because his dreams will not die again. His dreams will live on and on, not just through me, but even through my son. So why are we mourning? We will not mourn him. The things that he wanted to see become, the things he wanted his children to have when he's doing all these things for the colonial masters, I myself, I'll make sure that they are achieved. I'll make sure that my son lives the dreams of my father. And so when you look at all that, you realize that even as you talk about the subject matter, it is important for you to talk about the optimism, talk about the determination, talk about the looking forward, hopeful that things will not always be the same. There is no need for mourning. There is no need for grieving, because soon we'll be able to live the life that our father really wanted lived, but he couldn't make it because of his circumstances. I hope that is clear. Tuko pamoja?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So can we go to the last part of this? I know we have a few minutes remaining. Na ukumbuke tulianzia late, very late. So bado tuko na a few more minutes remaining. So let's talk about the attitude, the tone, and the mood. I want you to go back to the list of the names that we had in the group, and I want you to take a minute. Just take a look at them and ask yourself, which of these can fit in and why? Yeah, so we may not be keen on in your tone, in your mood, in your attitude. Just pick any adjective that you can use for any of the three. Okay. Yeah, we don't have to say the attitude, this and this. Maybe the question of what is the attitude of the persona towards his father? What is the attitude of the persona towards his father? The other one, what is the mood in the poem? Or what is the tone in the poem? Just that. The attitude of the persona towards his father, and what is the mood and what is the tone in the poem. Let's discuss that. Take a minute and go back to the adjectives, go through them, and see which one do you think will be appropriate and why. Which stanza makes that mood appropriate, or that tone appropriate, or that attitude appropriate. Let me give you a minute to do that. Then when we do that, we'll just conclude this lesson. All right, are we good now? Give us the answers. You can write them down on the chat. Hatujatumia chat leo by the way. Wacha tutumia chat. Andika hapo kwa chat haraka haraka ndio tusonge twende.
Teacher, mlikuwa mnaandika nini? Nilikimbia kwa choo nikapata mmenyamaza.
Pole. Si ungeuliza kwa nini tumenyamaza?
Nilidhani umeenda kidogo.
Hapana, hapana. Sasa we were looking at the adjectives and we are answering the question on the attitude, the tone and the mood. Zile adjectives tumetuma kwa group. They are the ones we are looking at. So we are answering the question of what is the attitude of the persona towards his father, and then what
Okay.
is the tone and what is the mood in the poem. Those three or two or something. So just giving the names, and it is important for you to be able to support it. When you say it is this, then give a reason why it's this, eh? So and borrow
Okay.
from the adjectives. That's okay. Thank you. Mna take long? My goodness. Situmalize you people. Ama tuifanye ikiwa assignment?
Teacher, this is a sorrowful mood.
A sorrowful
Because
mood. Yeah.
the persona is saying his sunken cheeks, his inward looking eyes.
Mhm. Yeah, that is a sorrowful mood. Very good, very good. It's a sorrowful mood. Uh-huh. Which other one? And you must explain. You must give an explanation. Acha tuangalie hapo. As we talk about, we can talk
His
about.
attitude was
Sorry?
he was optimistic.
Yes, he was optimistic, very optimistic, especially at the end. Yeah. And that can even be a tone, because as you look at the whole poem, yeah, you can see optimism even where he's getting looking like he's annoyed at his father. You can see that he's still hopeful, and so on. That is very good. I'm thinking about the critical as an attitude, a critical attitude. We are asked what is Nene, what is the attitude of the son towards his father. You see, this young man, or the son, is almost, he's been very keen. He's been very keen about the life of his father and the things he did. He keeps tabs with what the father is doing. He can actually tell the father built the dining tables, the chairs, the wardrobes, the mansions, and so on. He's very keen on what he's in touch with what the father was doing, and therefore he's this kind of people. We can say that they are critical. They are keen, and you also can talk about them being sensitive, and they are attentive. All those things, those are more of what do you call them, the character traits. But even as you talk about the character traits, it also captures the attitude, it also captures the tone, it will also capture the mood. There are so many words that we can use there. I'm hoping that as you look at that, even practical, he's proactive. There's so many words that we can use there, by the way. Persistent, he's convinced that he will not just die like his father. So he's saying, don't even mourn. I will not mourn him because I live in him. He lives in me. He also lives in my son, and so on. So we also have he's fearless. There are so many words that you can use there, by the way. He's confident, confident. So there are so many words that you can use there. And I'm really, really hoping that we are able to see that and be comfortable to use them And so I don't know, why do I feel like maybe hopeful attitude towards his dead father, because he says he will awaken his hopes and yearnings that the father did not accomplish. Thank you. Very true, Monica. Thank you very much. I totally agree with you. All right, so I feel like maybe by now we have covered whatever needed to be covered. I don't feel like there's anything new. I think the only thing now we need to do is to practice more. Remember, some of these things we are doing over this term, wacha niite term, this term is making sure that we understand the content, because a time is coming, hatutakuwa tunaulizana what is attitude, tone and mood. Tunakuwa tunachapa tu karatasi. Tunaingia paper 2, tuna cover paper 2 from the beginning to the end, because tumefanya comprehensions. We don't need to revise on comprehensions. Tunaingia tu tuna cover papers, hakuna ku-explain. And so please make sure that the things we are doing, you keep touch with them, because at that point when we start covering, revising, we will not come back to explain these things that we have explained. So I think for today, being the intention is to give you the content, to make sure that you understand, then I think we are good to go. But as we carry on, we'll keep revising, we'll keep attempting as many poems as we can, and exposing ourselves to so many questions, so that by the end of the day, we are good to go. So I think I will end it there, unless there is a question or a concern, then I think we are good. And also ask, nani hajafanya exam ya English yenye nilituma leo? I only saw Stella. Stella ndiye aliniforwardia exam. Wengine sijaziona. Have we tried? Ama tufanye kesho?
Utafanya kesho, teacher.
Kesho, Sawa, sawa. Very good. Wacha tufanye. Wacha tujikaza. I know it's not easy even to spare time, but let's try. I'll also send Kiswahili tomorrow morning. I'll actually send today. I'll send Kiswahili so that mtu ajipange tu. Ukikuwa na backlog, sasa wewe ndio shida yako, but find time. Sawa sawa, so tuseme good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night,
thank
madam.
you. Good night, see you tomorrow. Oh, see you on Monday. But then Monday morning we have English. I'll tell you what we will cover. Sawa, good night.
Good night.